Okay, so let's begin the session. This is MAHWISH RAZA. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Institute of Biological, Biochemical, and Pharmaceutical Sciences, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this special webinar, where we are proud to be here significant scientific and clinical milestones of Dow University of Health Sciences, the successful completion of first ever Phase 1B FDA approved clinical trial. For today's session, we welcome Dr. Muniba Hassan Saeed, our honorable guest, PI of this whole study, Phase 1 trial from 𝐶IDH-RC, Sin Infectious Disease Hospital and Research Center. During this webinar, we will ask her to tell us about the real experience of Phase 1B trial, its challenges, their key outcomes, and their success story. Welcome you, Dr. Muniba. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much, Dr. MAHWISH, for having me, and thanks to the IBBPS team for inviting me for this webinar.
Okay, Dr. Muniba. For this session, my first question towards you: why this Cyronex trial is so important for you?
So you see, there are several factors that make this trial truly special. Firstly, it was our first ever Phase 1 international clinical trial that was conducted at the Sin Infectious Diseases Hospital and Research Center, Dow University of Health Sciences, under the umbrella of IBPS, which is the Institute of Biological, Biochemical, and Pharmaceutical Sciences. And it's very important to understand at this point that there are only a handful of institutes in Pakistan that have Phase 1 approval for clinical trial, and DUHS is one of them. So we were lucky enough to have this trial. Then another important factor which made this trial special was that it was a multi-central trial that was conducted simultaneously across 9 different sites in 3 countries, including the USA, Mexico, and Pakistan. And we were able to contribute 20% of the total enrollments. Then another thing special about this trial was that it was an FDA-approved trial, and you know that FDA-approved trial means that all the oversight is being done by the FDA. And lastly, not to forget that this trial was conducted during COVID pandemic, which added an extra layer of complexity, and we faced several challenges, but due to the dedication of our team, we were able to complete this trial successfully. And this trial also got published in the Elsevier journal, which is also a special thing about this trial.
Oh, that's wonderful. It sounds good that you have recruited 20% of the recruitment from the 9 countries. Wonderful. So, so my next question is that how do you get involved in it? Because you are saying that there were multiple countries involved in the trial, as this was a US FDA trial. So how do you get involved in it? Who approached you for that?
So basically, it was a chaotic time during the COVID pandemic, and I was rounding in the COVID unit, and I received a call from an unknown number. So at that time, my phone used to buzz every second, and we were all very chaotic and under pressure, a lot of pressure. So I took the call, and the lady on the other side spoke to me very politely and explained that there's going to be a clinical trial, Phase 1 trial, and we want to have you as a PI. So at that time, to be very honest, I was clueless about this whole project, and and I was under so much pressure that I instantly said yes, without grasping what she was actually talking about. And then after 2 days, we had a formal meeting in which Dr. Saadia told me everything about this trial. And since then, things started rolling.
So, well, it's very fortunate for all of us. Thank you for answering this. Okay, so as we are repeatedly using the term that is Phase 1B trial, what is this? What is Phase 1B? For all of our understanding, what do you say?
So basically the R&D process of any drug takes 10 to 15 years from drug discovery to preclinical studies and then to clinical trials 1 to 4. So phase 1 clinical trials are basically those clinical trials. These are basically the first stage of human testing in which a drug or any new biological intervention, be it a vaccine or any device, is tested in a small number of individuals to look for the safety, tolerability, the adverse events, and the pharmacokinetics. So phase 1B trial is basically an expansion of phase 1A trial. Phase 1A trials are usually conducted in healthy population, while 1B are usually done in disease population, but the numbers are less in both these. And the basic purpose is to assess the safety of the new intervention, be it drug, vaccine, or a drug. And if it is a drug, then drug levels in the blood is also monitored to correlate with the dose. So these are basically for the safety purposes.
Okay, so I can conclude phase 1 as a safety trial, and with no fear, I can say that it's quite a risky one. My question is, what do you see in a protocol while reviewing phase 1 trial? Because you are accepting the phase 1 trial in Pakistani population, right? So being a stigma, what is the evaluation criteria?
The important thing to note here is that whenever you receive protocol for any study, you have to assess the protocol based on scientific, ethical, and operational grounds. So as far as scientific grounds are concerned, for phase 1, the safety is a big concern. So it's very important for us to look at the safety data, which we can have from the preclinical studies, or as in this case, it was a phase 1B trial. So we had the safety data from phase 1A. So it's very important to assess that data to weigh the risk versus benefit and to understand how the protocol is going to take place. Then it's important to see for ethical consideration, the most important is one is to see the consent form. Always review the consent form carefully to look at to see if any of the mentioned point is compromising the autonomy of the research participant. Is there any exploitation of the vulnerable population in that protocol? Is the protocol also being carried out in the country of origin to have a justice in the recruitment of participants? And also look at the language of the consent form. It should be in an understandable language. It's not simple translation from English to Urdu. It should be in a language which makes it which is comprehensible and the participant understands it. And after the ethical consideration, there is one more thing, which is the operational grounds. You have to assess the protocol on operational grounds. That is, you must see that is your site ready to go for this protocol? Is your site up for it? Do you have enough resources? Do you have enough human resource to carry out this trial? And if any of the things is missing, arrange that. Like in this trial, we had to have minus 80-degree refrigerators to freeze samples, which was not present then. And then we made arrangements to get it before the initiation of the trial. So always assess the trial on the scientific, ethical, and operational grounds.
Okay, so what is, as you have mentioned that this is a US FDA approved trial, so what is the difference of, having a US FDA approved protocol and other international trials that you have been part of it? So what is the difference between them?
So you see, FDA approved trials, the protocol, the way they are being carried out is more or less the same in any other trial. But FDA approved trials are those in which the clinical activities are being oversighted by FDA, be it the clinical trial inspection or of the SAEs. Everything is being stringently monitored, and it actually helps us in ensuring the integrity of the trial and the compliance to regulatory activities. So, which is helpful, and it results in having a data which is clean and strong data.
Exactly. Okay, so it was, I guess, 2021, and it was a COVID pandemic time, as you have mentioned. And during that COVID time, taking confidence of a team to be committed for the trial, or with especially the phase one type of trial from the offered from the FDA. How do you do that?
So that's a very good question. So this was not an ordinary trial. This was a trial that was conducted during the pandemic, and the safety of our healthcare workers and the research participants and their families were our utmost responsibility. So we had members in our team who had never worked in any clinical setting or had never been exposed to any COVID patient. So they were not familiar with the infection prevention and control protocols. So we started off with their training in infection control and prevention so that they know how the disease can transmit to them, what are the infection control measures they need to take while looking at the COVID patients, how the virus is being transmitted, what are its symptoms. So we conducted extensive training sessions, and also, you see, training is also not enough. You have to address the psychological impact the COVID had on the healthcare workers too. So we explained, we dealt with their fear. We explained each and everything to them. We've taken them into confidence that if you take all the necessary precautions, that it's not an issue to work in COVID area. We actually mapped the entire trial process and mapped each and every step and did a you can see pre-trial mock to see if the workflow is going good or not. And obviously the input from the entire team members is important. This is one of our team member who's wearing the PPE. So the donning and doffing was a huge issue. Donning is how you put on the PPE, and doffing is how you remove it. So that also follows certain steps. So teaching them that is also a huge task for us at that time, and we were able to do this through the help of our infection control and prevention manager in the entire department. Then once the trial started, we used to have daily meetings with the team members, and we used to address the issues, talk about the challenges that they are facing in the clinical area. And by the end of the day, we always had a strategy in hand to combat that challenge. So it was basically a dedicated teamwork, and involvement of each and every team member is very important to make any trial successful.
Exactly. I really want to congratulate each and every member of that team who contributed in this phase 1B FDA approved trial, and it was very wonderful experience. So let me take towards ethical and regulatory challenges of phase 1B clinical trials. So Dr. Muniba, my next questions towards you is there are multiple regulatory challenges. How do you face them, and what are those? Can you just explain them?
So starting with the regulatory challenge, it's a very known thing that you need to get regulatory approvals whenever you receive any protocol, and there are delays in getting regulatory approvals. Obviously, there is a whole process which we need to follow, and you have to be prepared for that. In this case, we received the protocol during the peak of the pandemic, and the trial, when the trial started, the numbers had already gone down. So the getting approval almost took 4 to 6 months in this project. So this happens, and this is a usual thing because the processes are very stringent, and they are very tedious process. We have to be prepared for that. But the good point was that we had IBPS, which had a bioanalytical and bioequivalence lab. So we were equipped to get the phase 1 clinical trial approval because of that. I've already mentioned the ethical considerations, like you need to look at the different factors related to it, like the protocol, the voluntariness of the research participants. Is their autonomy has been affected in any way? Is there a medical insurance policy for the research participants or not? Is there any line in the consent form that is compromising their autonomy? So while being a PI or a researcher, you have to take the onus of this and take this responsibility and check each and everything. Because at the end of the day, you are the ones who are dealing with the research participants, and you are the ones who are explaining them the whole process. So you have to be yourself very clear about each and everything.
So,
In Pakistan, we have NBC to get the ethical approval along with the institutional review board in the institution where you are carrying out the trial. So that is important. And if it is a new drug or a vaccine, DRAP approval is mandatory. Yes.
okay, so considering research participants, and it's a phase 1 trial, obviously, to get involved participants, we have to take consent from the participant. So how do you do that? Because most of the time participants refuse to get, part of research. Whenever they heard the term technique or the research, they deny to be the part of it. So how do you do that and how you recruit it? Because you have claimed that you have recruited 20% of the recruitment, which is far better than from other side, from the Pakistan even. So how do you do that?
So that's a very good question again. Research still in our part of the world has been a stigma. The word tehqiq, and even our hospital has the name research in it. So initially we also faced some challenges because people used to think that research is something bad. It's not bad, it's just science. Even the paracetamol which is available in market has gone through all the different phases of clinical trial, and it's important to get it tested in human beings before marketing it. So this is something, and now I have seen that this understanding has started growing up. People have now started understanding this process because after COVID, more and more clinical trials are being conducted. So it was pretty stressful at that time. Both the patients and families, they are going through emotional trauma and they were emotionally disturbed, and handing over of a complex and a lengthy consent form to them added a barrier in our effective communication. So what we did that we had arranged counseling sessions for them. And here comes the role of counseling and the process of informed consent. Remember, the informed consent is not just one sitting. This is a whole process in which you have to be with the participant at every point in time to explain them the things that are going. So important to enrich the participant with all the required knowledge so that they can take their decision voluntarily. Give them time and talk to them, address their issues. So this really helps you. Obviously, in pandemic, you don't have time, but this is an important thing as well. So you need to take out time. You need to did that. We managed to take out time for them because if they don't understand it properly, they will not be able to comprehend the consent form later and would not be able to take the decision in a rightful manner. There have been instances in which the attendants or the family members used to take the consent form home and discuss it with their treating physician, and then responded us later, and we respected that. This is how it should be like. So counseling and the process of informed consent plays a very important role in this scenario. That's it. And,
Okay, that's wonderful.
yeah. Please
Yes, you
carry
can
on.
continue.
Yes.
Okay, so that's one wonderful. Yes, you can carry on, Dr. Muniba, with this question.
So initially we faced some challenges, and that we worked on the strategies to counsel them, to engage with them, and to give them the confidence to ask questions from us, and we then responded it well. And because of that, we were able to recruit 20% of the total enrollments. that was a great thing at the end.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, as per my understanding, is phase one trial, blood samplings and labs are very important because it's required for the pharmacokinetic evaluation. It is the part of it. So, again, the counseling part, because after giving consent, we cannot assure that participant will continue the whole study. Some of the participants may withdraw within that period. They are allowed to. So how do you manage these kind of things? And blood sampling is very important, and including myself. अगर मेरा कोई खून चार चार पाँच पाँच पर बोतलें ले लेगा, like tubes ले लेगा, तो obviously मेरे लिए बड़ा discomfort feel होगा मुझे तो. So how do you manage that thing?
So yes, you have very rightly said that that's a big issue, and it was a big challenge because the patient always show their concern upon looking at the number of bottles that we are taking there to draw. Like in this study, at a point in time, we had to draw 28 ml of blood pre-dose, and then some amount of it after dose. So when the patient used to look at the number of bottles, he really they really showed concern about it. And then again comes the part of counseling that we need to tell them the importance of it. It's a safety trial. We need to monitor the effect of this drug on every organ of your body. So we need this much amount of samples. We need to measure the levels in the blood. Is the dose appropriate? Is there any adverse event that you are impending to develop? So which this can be checked only after looking at your blood sample reports. So counseling again plays a very important role. Then since this was a COVID trial, we had to take nasal swabs quite frequently. So nasal swabbing is also a very painful process. So all these things should be communicated at the time of consent, but also on a daily basis. That's why I say that the consent, informed consent, it's a process. That on a daily basis, you need to communicate with your participant about the things that you are doing and what's the purpose behind it. So once they are clear about it, they are ready to cooperate. But this is not only for patients, again, or the participants. It's also for the sponsors. Like if you look at it, like in this protocol, if I recall, there was a requirement to test the lipid profile on a daily basis. So we had a meeting with the sponsors regarding this, and we explained that there is no point of checking the lipid levels on a daily basis. You can do it on an alternate day. And they agreed upon this, and so these changes were made in the protocol for us. So you are the primary ones and a bridge between the participant and the sponsors. So you have to play your role, and you have to see things critically and see why is it so important to get it done on a daily basis. Is it really so? Always discuss these points with the sponsors and come up with a mutual solution which would be beneficial for both the participant as well as for the study without compromising the results that you're expected to get from the study.
So I would say you have played beautifully role of this PI because you have took sponsors, on board, and you shared that challenge that obviously with relevance to the patient compliance, and obviously considering being a Pakistani and our scenarios and our patient compliance, our patient satisfaction, that is the first most thing in the clinical trial, and you played a very important and I would say it was remarkable thing that you have done for the patient. Otherwise, we have what we get the feedback from the participants or from overall the globe that PI is working under the sponsor. So I could say that no. We can have a discussion with the sponsor just to take the patient compliance on board. Okay, so nevertheless, with all this success, as you have mentioned that in your talk that essay about essay. So did you get any essay report in the trial? I would say it's an absolute part of the trial. I don't want to dig out uh, the details of it, but if you can share the summary of it.
Yes, essays they are something which are associated with any clinical trial, and we have to be prepared for that as well. Essays are basically the severe adverse events. Yes, there was one essay in this clinical trial which was timely reported to the sponsor as well as to the regulatory bodies, and it was dealt accordingly. So taking in loop the stakeholders is very important while addressing the patient uh, concerns, as well as properly managing the participant is the most important thing.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Maniba. That because essay is something that's need to be reported on timely basis
Yeah.
uh, with the stakeholders and a sponsor, and you have done this. That's wonderful. Okay, now my section is towards FDA protocol compliance. Obviously, the compliance factor is very important for the site, and being a partner of or being a compliant towards the US FDA protocol, and it's include the pharmacokinetic evaluation, and I can say that there are stringent criteria, as you have also mentioned. So how do you manage that? Because blood sampling and then shipment of that sample and processing, uh, I guess it's a tedious process. And how do you manage this?
So as far as the blood sampling is concerned, it was a real challenge. Again, another challenge that we faced. We had a very narrow time window of only 20 minutes to draw the sample and to send it to the lab for certification and getting it stored in the minus 80-degree refrigerator. So the time was only 20 minutes. So all our team members, the one who is working inside the COVID unit and the one who are waiting outside for the shipment of these samples were on their toes. And we had our timer on. And remember, these are not the usual samples. These are samples from a COVID patient. So we had to follow the infection control protocols as well for the transportation of these samples. So this is a picture that Dr. Mahwish is showing is of a minus 80-degree refrigerator where we used to keep the sample and time it. So the time, it's very important to record the time when the sample was drawn and when it was centrifuged and when it was placed in the minus 80 degrees refrigerator. And all this was supposed to be done in just 20 minutes. So that was very challenging. But again, the mock drill and the dedication of our team, they successfully executed this whole process, and we did it in a timely manner. I still remember the time when we used to drop messages that it's 6 a.m. Go to the patient, check vitals, get 3 ECGs. Now it's 6:30. It's draw the blood sample. You have to take 28 ml blood. You have to take 15 ml urine, and now it's time to give the drug. And 15 minutes later, you have to make sure that the samples are in the refrigerator. So everyone was involved in it, and it was all teamwork. It was all teamwork. So credit goes to the team.
Exactly. So, and I would say thanks to the management of DUHS as well. We are blessed with minus 80-degree freezers,
Yeah.
not only a one, a multiple. So
Yeah.
that's wonderful for the DUHS. Okay, so I would like to ask about the another challenge that you faced during the trial, that is record keeping and source documentation. Again, it's a sponsor requirement that source documentation is mandatory.
Yes. So
Yes.
source documentation is something that you need to keep record of all the things which are being done with the research participant. But these were not the ordinary files. These were the files which are kept in the COVID unit. So securing those records is another challenge. Basically, we have a paperwork system at our hospital. Everything was written in the patient's file. And as we all know that the COVID virus can survive on surfaces. So the knowledge at that time we had that the virus could survive on surfaces for 7 days. So even after the start of the patient, we used to keep their files in a separate room, allowing the virus to die out, and then it was shifted to the archive area of the clinical trial unit. As far as the entry of real-time data is concerned, so we had the EDC tool, that is your electronic data capturing tool, and we used to enter the real-time data in the tablets which we had, and we used to wrap those tablets in plastic sheet before taking it inside into the COVID unit, and to prevent its contamination, which was an added thing on us, not only preventing us from contamination, but also the tabs that we are taking inside the COVID unit from contamination, which we used to do. And you see, you face challenges, but there are always ways to cater or to address team, make a plan and then execute it. And that's exactly what we did.
Yes, thank you so much for elaborating us. So one of the other challenge that is renowned for the whole of the research units, and this is a challenge over the globe, that patient recruitment. Okay, so what's your experience in it? Do you face any kind of recruitment challenge?
So recruitment challenge is depending on the time of initiation of the clinical trial. And as I mentioned earlier, that we received this protocol when the COVID was at its peak. But when after getting all the regulatory approvals and everything, and site approval, the trial started at a time when the number of COVID patients had already gone down. So this, if the overall number of cases have reduced, your recruitment gets affected with it. But having said this, we were still able to engage with the research participants, got them enrolled, and had successfully contributed 20% of the total enrollment, which is a great thing. So this happens, and you see, as I told earlier, that these are the challenges that you face, but you have to come up with solutions. Obviously, if the numbers have gone down, it's something which is not in your hand, but you put in all your effort to and get as much number as you can in any study after discussing with the research participant. You can only try for that.
Yes, for sure. This is a compliment for us that the patient recruitment, although it's a challenge, but we recruited at least 20% from the whole patient um, recruitment. So the another thing that we face that is
Sorry, Dr. Mavish, I think we lost you. I think there's a connectivity issue. Is it only at my end, or others are also facing this?
We can easily listen to you. It's like it's very clear. I think so. There's some problem at Miss MAHWISH Raza point.
That's Dr. Mahavish's problem. Just hang in there. Okay. So by the time Dr. Mavish joins in, I just want to know if any of you have worked in any of the clinical trials. Do you have any personal experience of working in any of the clinical trials? Would any?
Hello, I'm Dr. Najib. I'm working with 𝐒𝐿 Laboratories, BL Biosciences, and I'm certified clinical research professional. But
Okay, great.
like a proper chance to. But we have initiated few investigative initiatives mostly uh,
Mm-hmm.
regarding the comparative studies. But we face a lot of problems, especially in selection criterias and keeping those patients in line because the dropout rates. I was just writing a message. The rates of
Mm-hmm.
dropouts in all the RCTs and every. And the other part, which is more important, is that most of the trials here in Pakistan are not incentivized for the patients. So they are just like going through it and as per the international guidelines, and so much information which need to be shared with them is not shared properly. So these are, I think, so some areas which need to be improved and need to be worked out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajiv, for your feedback. You have very rightly said so that the dynamics of clinical trials have actually changed in Pakistan post-COVID. Before that, um, there were only a scanty number of clinical trials which were taking place in only a handful of institutions. But now, uh, this has post-COVID, this has certainly changed, and we have to get ourselves equipped to conduct those clinical trials and to match the international standards. Um, so how many of you have actually done the GCP certification, which is a very important thing to understand the clinical practices that we need to follow in the clinical trials? Have any one of you have done the GCP certification in clinical trial? And if not, I would suggest you to go for that. It's a very these certification courses are also free of cost at some of the sites, so you can do it, which would be really helpful to you to understand the clinical trial and to go for best clinical practices. Anyone else would like to share their comment or their experience of running a clinical trial? There are some questions also in the chat box. You can open that. I can't see it. Anyways, so yes, well, Sam, yes, please.
How are you, Miss Maniba? It's a very good session. Indeed, it's a very
Thank you.
informative one.
Thank you. Dr. Ijlal, is it Dr.
Yes.
Ijlal?
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Ijlal. So,
मैम मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा था कि इज देयर एनी फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी इन पाकिस्तान के जो स्टार्ट से फेज़ 1 को लेके चली है और उसने अभी पोस्ट कोविड में जाके कोई उसके ट्रायल अप्रूव हुए हैं इन ड्राफ्ट डायरेक्टरी?
ये ना इसके एक ऐसा सवाल है कि जिसपे मुझे एक थोड़ा नॉलेज की जरूरत है और उसके बगैर मैं इसमें कमेंट नहीं कर सकती। प्रॉब्ली अगर डॉक्टर जीशान है हमारे साथ तो वो इस पे ज्यादा सही रिस्पॉन्ड कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि मैं किसी भी फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी का नाम ले लूँ और अगर वो नहीं हुआ वो तो थोड़ी सही बात नहीं होगी, तो इसलिए मैं इस पर कमेंट नहीं करती। लेकिन ये बात जरूर है कि कोविड में हमारे पास इवन वैक्सीन के भी फेज 1 ट्रायल के लिए इनिशिएशन हुई है, लेकिन कौन सी फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी के थ्रू या कौन सा स्पॉन्सर, तो वो मैं इसमें कमेंट नहीं कर सकती हूँ, मेरे पास सही नॉलेज नहीं है इसके लिए।
तो जो बाहर की कंपनीज हैं फॉरेन्स हैं वो प्री क्लिनिकल के लिए तो अपने ही कंट्री को प्रेफर करते हैं, आफ्टर प्री क्लिनिकल ही यहाँ पे डाटा लेके आते हैं बिकॉज फेज़ 1 के लिए तो पाकिस्तान इज़ वेरी सूटेबल कंट्री।
हाँ जी, बस एक मिनट दे दे, मैं इधर टेक्निकल उसको बात करूँ। जी बिल्कुल, देखिए होना भी यही चाहिए कि जहाँ के स्टडी इनिशिएट हो रही है वहाँ कंट्री ऑफ ओरिजिन में होनी चाहिए चीज़ें, ताकि एक वहाँ का अप्रूवल्स उनके पास हो बिफोर गोइंग टुवर्ड्स अदर सेंटर्स और अदर कंट्रीज। तो ये बिल्कुल चीज होनी चाहिए कि कंट्री ऑफ ओरिजिन जहाँ का है वहाँ की इन्वॉल्वमेंट हो। अच्छा, सही। डॉक्टर इशलाल, कोई और क्वेश्चन आपने पूछा था जो मैंने रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं किया?
हाँ, नहीं बिल्कुल ठीक है, काफ़ी इंफॉर्मेटिव सेशन है आपका, और हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि
थैंक यू।
पाकिस्तान में अब मज़ीद भी जो CROs हैं और इसके अलावा जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स का फ़ेज़ 3 का स्पेशली कि काफ़ी अच्छा पोटेंशियल बनता जा रहा है। ह्यूज पॉपुलेशन है, और इसके अलावा जो वर्सटैलिटी है, और डॉक्टर्स काफ़ी इनकरेज कर रहे हैं टर्शरी केयर हॉस्पिटल्स में। तो
बिल्कुल, thank you, Dr. Ashar. So we have with us Salman Afzal. He has raised his hand. Yes, Salman, you can unmute.
Yes, miss. My name is Salman Afzal. I am manager R&D from 𝐒𝐮𝐜𝐜 Pharmaceuticals. So मेरा इनमें से ये एक सजेशंस भी है, एक इस हवाले से जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स के हवाले से, इसमें पाकिस्तान में इस वक्त वो डेवलपमेंट नहीं हो रही जो हमारे नाइबर्स कंट्री में, चाइना में, इंडिया में वहाँ पे हो रही है। उसमें से मेन इश्यूज कुछ फाइनेंसिस के इश्यूज है, कुछ लीगल्स भी है, और कुछ जॉइंट वेंचर टीम के भी इश्यूज आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि फॉर्मुलेशन डेवलपमेंट में ये चीज़ें हमारी प्रैक्टिकल में नहीं आ रही कि पाकिस्तान में कोई मॉलिक्यूल डेवलप हुआ हो आगे, वो हम पेटेंट बने हैं किसी भी चीज़ में ना। तो अब फॉर एग्जाम्पल कोविड पे हम काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हम अनफॉर्चुनेटली बहुत पीछे रह गए हैं ना बाकी बाकी दुनिया से। तो वो बीमारी ख़त्म हो गई और हम अब तक उसी में हैं। तो मेरी सजेशन।
आपने अनम्यूट कर दिया सलमान, अनम्यूट कर दें, आपने म्यूट कर दिया है।
जी मिस, आवाज़ आ रही है मेरी अभी?
हाँ जी, अब आ रही है, तो अब आ
हाँ,
रही
मैं
है।
ये कह रहा हूँ कि हमारी कुछ गोल्स है ना, जो हमारी क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स 3 तक जाना है, हमने इस प्रोडक्ट को आगे पेटेंट करना है, यूएसएफडीए तक लेके जाना है, और फिर इसको पेटेंट करके लॉन्च करना है ना किसी भी फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्रीज के साथ मिलके कोलैबोरेशन में। तो इस वक्त हमें इस फील्ड में मजीद इम्प्रूवमेंट की ज़रूरत है, ताकि हम ऐसी मॉलिक्यूल डेवलप करें जिसमें हम खुद ही इधर पेटेंट बन जाए, क्योंकि हमारे नाइबर्स कंट्रीज चाइना है, इंडिया है, दे आर डूइंग लाट्स, वो बहुत इस पे काम कर रही है, कुछ चीज़ों में वो पेटेंट भी जा रहे हैं। तो मेरी ये सजेशन थी कि ऐसा कोई कोलैबोरेशन हमारा नहीं बन सकता बिटवीन एकेडेमिया, फार्मा इंडस्ट्रीज एंड जो आपकी जो हॉस्पिटल्स हैं, डो केमिकल हेल्थ साइंसेस है, ताकि इसके ऊपर जॉइंट वेंचर्स पे काम हो, बाकी मतलब डेवलपमेंट के लोग भी हो, डॉक्टर्स भी हो, क्लिनिकल रिसर्चर्स भी हो, ताकि उस प्रोजेक्ट को टू द एंड लेके जाएं, ताकि हमारे कंट्री के लिए भी एक नाम बन जाए, हम कोई प्रोडक्ट इस तरह डेवलप कर जाएं। तो मेरी ये सजेशन थी कि जॉइंट कोलैबोरेशन होनी चाहिए।
देखिए, कोलैबोरेशन तो होनी चाहिए, पर इक्विप्ड भी होना चाहिए ना। जैसे आपने बात करी कि कहानी स्टार्ट होती है ड्रग डिस्कवरी से। इस वक्त कितनी ऐसी फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज हैं या हमारी जो लैब्स है वो ड्रग डिस्कवरी पे काम कर रहे हैं। काम वहां से शुरू होगा तो फिर प्री क्लिनिकल स्टडीज पे आएगा, और फिर फेज 1 to 4 क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स आएगा। तो फिर ग्रास रूट लेवल बिल्कुल नीचे से हमारे पास मैन्युफैक्चरिंग साइड से ही ऐसी चीजों पे काम होना शुरू होता है। मुझे पता है कुछ लैब्स का जहाँ पे ये प्री क्लिनिकल स्टडीज हो रही होती है, पर बहुत छोटे लेवल के ऊपर हो रही है। ऑब्वियसली फाइनेंसेस एक इशू है। फिर हमारा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि अगर हम फार्मा स्पॉन्सर्ड पे जाएं तो फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज भी का भी मतलब आहिस्ता आहिस्ता करके वो वाइंड अप भी करते जा रहे हैं। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग साइड पे there used to be a time when we used to develop vaccines here, लेकिन अब वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग साइट्स ही खत्म होती जा रही हैं। तो ये आपने बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट रेस किया है, लेकिन उसके लिए हमें बिल्कुल शुरू से स्टार्ट करना होगा, और ऑब्वियसली इसमें फाइनेंसेस इन्वॉल्व होते हैं। कोलैबोरेशन का ही शायद का है कि डिफरेंट अवेयरनेस मीडिया यूज किया जा रहा है कि ताकि लोग जो कर रहे हैं वो कोलैबोरेट कर सकें। तो रिसेंटली बहुत एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी भी टेस्ट हुई है यहाँ पे। फेज 1 ट्रायल ही था वो उसका। तो चीजें कर रहे हैं, छोटे छोटे पैमाने पे हो रही है, बड़े उस पे नहीं हो रही है। और प्रॉब्ली शायद यही सेशंस हमें हेल्प करेंगे कि हम अंडरस्टैंड कर सके कि हमारी प्रॉब्लम्स क्या है और हमें उसको किस तरह एड्रेस करना है। और ज़रूरी है हमारी इतनी बेसिक जो हमारी डिजीजेज हैं उसका ड्रग्स भी हम बाहर से इम्पोर्ट कर रहे हैं, which is not a good sign. It's high time that we start investing in developing those drugs, but there are huge challenges associated with it. तो वो सबको एड्रेस करके करना मतलब काफी मुश्किल है, पर किसी को तो स्टेप लेना है।
Thank you, miss. Thank you.
अच्छा, Dr. Mahwish, have you joined back?
Yes, this is another challenge that we face.
So now I would say, Dr. Mahwish, welcome back.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for participating in this webinar. If you have any further question, you can drop us right now, or you can come up at our website, or you can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can get the publication link over there. You can read it out. You can approach us. So we are open to it.
And there are certain questions in the chat box, Dr. Mahwish.
Yes, they were asking about there was Samaya Zafar. They were asking for total number of subjects completed in the study, and she's asking about success rate and follow-up ratio. So it will be a success. Share numbers. She wants a number. So Sumaya, there were 45 participants who enrolled in the study, and 42 has completed the study protocol. So that's a good number. That follow-up ratio was found good to us, and it's a whole number that I'm sharing with you. So you can find the whole article from our website, from our social media pages, and you can have a look on it. Dr. Muniba, have you shared the publication of that 𝐶𝐼RONEX trial?
No, I haven't. So this, you can share it, Mahwish.
Okay, so it's a journal of intensive medicine that is publisher by Elsevier. It is being published in Journal of Intensive Medicine, Impact Factor 3.1. So you can get the publication from the social media page.
So yes, so we have responded to the questions. There is no other question in the chat box.
And that we left?
We have 7 minutes.
Okay, so any one of you can ask if you have any further questions.
There's one comment in the chat box, Dr. Mahwish.
Okay,
from
so
Muhammad Shiraz.
Ansari, right. So I have experienced clinical research regarding bioequivalent system. Ask me on chat. Good. Okay, so I guess we can leave the session. I'm not found some more question on it. So thank you, Dr. Muniba, once again for your time and for your appearance for this special webinar. It's really special for all of us because it's a first ever FDA approved, US FDA approved clinical trial that has been successfully conducted and published in Elsevier Journal. And we congratulate each and every member, each and every team member who has part of it, and especially Dr. Muniba as a PI of it. Thank you, IBBS. Thank you, SIDH, for being part of 𝐶𝐼RONEX. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.